Vikings, let's win this game.
There are days when being a Vikings fan feels like a roller coaster, and today was exactly that. There was a big rumor in free agency and what that rejection meant for the team. Then came serious doubts about J.J. McCarthy's future. Some backstage buzz about a new quarterback, good defensive news with an important return, and even a bit of shade coming from Chicago. But what they said about Caleb Williams, that's the kind of thing that changes the mood before kickoff. Stick around till the end because the last story will hit every bit of that purple pride. Before diving into all that, let me just say this real quick. Subscribe to the channel. It's free, costs nothing, and it really helps keep this fan talk going strong. Hit the like button too, because that tells YouTube to show this video to more Vikings fans across the country. And drop your thoughts in the comments because this space is yours. All right, let's get into it. There's a lot to unpack today. Let's start with this one. Back in June, some fans swore that signing Jair Alexander would have been a master move. A huge name, former Packer, seemed like the perfect fix for the Vikings secondary. But thankfully, that never happened. Seriously, the guy's now out of the NFL thinking about retirement, and the Philadelphia Eagles already placed him on the retired list. He tried to reboot his career after getting traded from the Ravens, but it never took off. 2 games, 5 passes thrown his way, 5 completions, 0 impact. And now, at 28 years old, he's stepping away from the game, mentally and physically, by his own words. One of those stories that makes you think, man, we dodged a bullet. Remember the hype back then? The rumor was hot. Fans could picture Alexander in purple burning his old team in Green Bay. It sounded smart, looked smart, but time proved Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah nailed it by staying out of that mess. Meanwhile, Philly tried to load up and ended up with a headache. What looked like a brilliant trade turned into a costly miss. Alexander didn't even travel with the team to Green Bay last Monday, and the very next day, boom, retirement announced. What a twist. To be honest with you, that just shows how the Vikings front office plays chess while others play checkers. They avoided a player who became a problem in 2 different locker rooms. And here we are, defense adjusting, no drama attached. Relief doesn't even cover it. Comment if you also thought that move made sense at the time, because, let's face it, most of us did, and stay tuned. Because the next topic hits right at the heart of the fan base, the quarterback. All right, here comes the tense part of the week, the J.J. McCarthy talk. The kid who was supposed to be the franchise's future is wobbling. It's tough to say, but now the doubts are real among fans. Is he really the guy to lead the Vikings? The team sits at 4-5, the division slipping away, and the offense feels stuck. The contrast from last year is striking. Remember when Sam Darnold took over and the offense flowed? Now, with McCarthy, every drive feels like climbing a mountain. His arm's solid, but the reads are raw, and the decisions, well, those are costing games. He's got talent, got charisma, but the patience clock is ticking. Honestly, you can feel when the team doesn't fully trust the quarterback. And Kevin O'Connell seems to be showing that too. The buzz coming out of the building, and it's more than just social media chatter, is that the Vikings might target Spencer Rattler from the Saints. Yeah, the same guy who lost his job to Tyler Show, but still showed flashes when he played. In New Orleans, Rattler threw for over 1,500 yards, 8 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and completed 68% of his passes. Not elite, but he brings presence, and in O'Connell's system, that matters. We've seen O'Connell revive Darnold and even spark Carson Wentz. Imagine what he could do with a younger quarterback still trying to prove himself. And the best part, it wouldn't take a blockbuster deal. Rattler would be a cheap midterm gamble at worst, a strong backup to push McCarthy. At best, a new starter. That's the kind of proactive move smart teams make before things blow up. Of course, fans are split. Some say give JJ more time. Others are ready for a change. But everyone agrees on one thing. This offense needs air, fast. The defense is holding its ground, but without points, there are no miracles. Honestly, you only get this kind of straight from the bleachers take here, and mark my words, if this rumor grows legs, that locker room's gonna get fiery. Drop your take. Would Rattler be a smart move or too early to bail on McCarthy? Stick around because the next story brings the relief we've been waiting for. A bright spot on defense. Finally, some good news to ease the tension. Theo Jackson is back. After weeks out in concussion protocol, the safety's been cleared and will suit up this week. Kevin O'Connell confirmed it at the presser. Theo's ready. Full go. Back in action. Man, that's music to any fan's ears tired of seeing deep balls land behind our secondary. Honestly, the defense has been crying for help. The team's 4-5, the division's tight, and every reinforcement matters. Jackson may not be a star yet, but he's the kind of player who changes the rhythm. Standing 6'1", 205 pounds, he moves well, covers ground, and brings that fire you can feel. He's the guy who dives into tackles like it's his last snap. And that contract? 3 years, just over $9 million. It's a steal if he reaches his potential. His predecessor, Cameron Bynum, signed a $60 million deal with the Colts and is doing fine. But honestly, the Vikings needed hunger, and Jackson's got that in spades. His numbers don't pop yet. 8 games, 6 starts, no picks, no passes defended. But hey, part of that's the chaos in coverage and lost rhythm. His return could steady things and give this secondary a second wind. According to PFF, Bynum ranks 22nd among safeties, Jackson 43rd. A gap that can close fast if he stays healthy. And get this, Sunday's matchup is against the 6-3 division-leading Bears. Caleb Williams is going to test that secondary all game long. One turnover could swing it all. Picture it. Jackson picking one late to seal the win. That'd send a message. This Vikings defense is alive and snarling again. That's the kind of play that lights up the entire Purple Faithful. You only get this kind of heartbeat fan insight here. Jackson's return isn't just about depth. It's a symbol of resilience. Drop a comment if you believe he could be the turning point for this defense. But hang on, because the next story packs a punch. The Bears head coach just got brutally honest about what he really thinks of Minnesota's defense. Here's a wild one. Bears head coach Ben Johnson opened up about the Vikings' defense, and it was pure respect. Even as a division rival, the guy didn't hold back on praise for Brian Flores and the way he builds his defensive system. He said it's nearly impossible to predict what's coming next, that it changes every week, and that for an offensive coordinator, it's a total nightmare. Flores mixes everything: fronts, coverages, personnel groups. Every game is a new puzzle, Johnson said. And coming from a coach who's getting the most out of Caleb Williams, that means something. He even pointed out that in Week 1, Minnesota looked totally different because Harrison Smith was out. Now, with more guys healthy, it's a whole new beast. Honestly, that shows how much Flores is inside opponents' heads. The guy's fearless about adjusting based on who he has. Andrew Van Ginkel rotates in and out. Jonathan Greenard returns, and the system still hums. When a rival admits he has no clue what to expect, that's how you know the defense is doing its job. The most interesting part? Johnson said if you over-prepare for a Flores scheme, you end up paralyzing your own offense. His words, "Don't overthink it, or your players slow down, and the defense feeds on that." Classic Flores, controlled chaos. And let's be real, that kind of quote fires up the whole Defend the North crowd, because even if the team's still finding its footing, the Vikings' defense has become something opponents truly hate facing. That's the identity we've missed since the Purple People Eaters days. Respect and fear. Now the next game's going to be straight fire. Caleb Williams versus the most unpredictable defense in the NFC North. Even Flores said it's going to be a 60-minute battle. You only hear this kind of raw fan take here, straight from the stands. Flores is building something special, even if it's still in progress. Comment if you feel this defense is finally finding its identity again. And stay tuned, because the next one's the showstopper. What the Bears said about Caleb Williams just lit a spark in Minnesota's locker room. And to wrap it all up, let's talk about the man of the moment, Caleb Williams. The kid's the center of attention ahead of the Vikings matchup. And for good reason. Chicago's 6-3 on fire in the division, and a lot of that comes down to his ice-cold poise late in games. And what people in Minnesota said about him? It turned the heat up before kickoff defensive coordinator Brian Flores didn't mince words. He shows up big in big moments, and that's when we've got to be at our best. Translation: total respect, zero fear. That's exactly what fans want to hear. Acknowledge the talent, but with the mindset of taking down the hype. Honestly, it's great seeing how Flores embraces the challenge. He knows Williams isn't just any rookie. The kid slips out of sacks, improvises, turns dead plays into highlights. Former NFL coach Dave Wanstead even said he performs better under pressure than in rhythm. He's that kind of player who keeps defenses tense the whole game. But here's the thing, the Vikings aren't walking in unarmed. O'Connell brought good news. Jonathan Greenard, who scared everyone with a shoulder injury, might be back, and Theo Jackson, yep, the same one from the last segment, is cleared. The defense will be almost full strength and hungry. This game against Chicago is more than a division matchup. It's an identity test. We're about to find out if this defense is ready to face the NFL's future head-on. Honestly, I've got that good nervous energy. The mix of fear and excitement only real fans know. And man, the Vikings nation is fired up. It feels like revenge time, like a chance to remind everyone who still owns the North. Williams is great, no denying that. But history shows, When the purple gets angry, you better respect it. Comment if you think this defense can contain the kid, and if this could be the turning point of the season, because after this one, we tie it all together. After all that, you can feel the vibe in Minnesota shifting. This isn't just another game, it's a turning point. The front office dodged a bullet with the Alexander situation. The offense is still searching for rhythm with McCarthy, but already eyeing options. And the defense is slowly breathing life again, earning respect even from rivals like Ben Johnson. Now comes Caleb Williams, the rookie sensation, ready to test the true pulse of this team. Honestly, this is the moment fans decide whether to believe or bail, and True Purple never quits. This team moves us every single day, and that's why the conversation keeps going in the comments. Drop your thoughts. This space belongs to everyone who lives the Purple faithful. Stay tuned. SKOL Vikings, let's go.